Hello everybody, welcome to another live coding session for Uno platform. Hi Lemonai. So today I would like to look into a potential new feature that we don't have implemented yet. I didn't even know that it exists, but apparently it does. It's the paste event on TextBox. It's a very no, not very, but it's a relatively simple event that gives you a chance to capture the paste event from either a keyboard or through the context menu of TextBox, so something like this. And it allows you to react to it in some way. So it allows you to either let that paste event occur as normal, or you can handle it and then do something with the clipboard yourself. So there are also two options that you can use, and we will be looking into how we could implement this functionality into Uno platform, which could be a nice thing to do, a nice thing to have for even a cross-platform manner. So that's gonna be our goal today. At least we will start on it, because I don't expect that we'll be able to implement this feature on all the targets because there is just so many, but it might be interesting to look into, as it's a nicely isolated feature, and it could be a cool thing to showcase as a kind of contribution across all platforms. So what I usually do when I start implementing a new feature that's based on a WinUI feature, I switch to Windows first, because Windows is the kind of a template or our blueprint to what we do. So we first see how things work on Windows, and then we try to replicate that behavior on other targets as accurately as possible. So what I will actually do, even before I open Uno platform, I will first open a blank app, and I can do it in WinUI free. Why not? So I will open a blank application in WinUI free, and I will try to see what happens when I capture the paste event on TextBox. Yes, that's right. TextBox tasks are my favorite usually, because they are quite useful overall. Like it's one of the input is one of the major things that you need to do with your applications. So having a good input handling in the application is definitely something that helps many apps across the board. And even though we have actually, in one of the previous live coding sessions, I did implement other TextBox events related to clipboard, which was, I think, the cut selection to clipboard, copy selection to clipboard, and paste from clipboard. These three were implemented in one of the previous live coding sessions. So yeah, it's a kind of a favorite thing for me to do. And I see there are actually events like copying to clipboard and cutting to clipboard, which I didn't know. So maybe that's something to look into for some future session. But let's focus on paste for now. So let's do a simple sample page here. I will have a text box with a name of sample text box, and I will attach its paste event, and we can do something like a checkbox, maybe a handle paste. So this could be nice. Let me open this one. I will have a notepad at hand so I can copy some stuff and paste it later. But here, so this checkbox will say whether the event should be handled by our code or instead handled by the system. So in here, I will do what is the name? Checkbox. Handle paste checkbox. If handle paste checkbox is checked equals true, then I will do handled equals true. And otherwise I will let it be handled by the system. So let's see what happens. I will just do hello world in the notepad and copy it into clipboard so we have something to paste. And I will paste, and it works unless I do handle, in which case pasting does not work, and even if I do right click paste, it doesn't work either. So it applies to both context menu paste and normal pasting. So this is something that we want to replicate. Okay, so this will be definitely platform specific because we need to handle the pasting from the OS, and the text box in general is something that is implemented using native input controls on each platform. So in all cases, the text box is backed by a native input view or edit text, or how it's called on Android, or UI edit something on iOS. I don't even know what it is, but on each platform it's platform specific. So we'll need to also understand how to handle the paste event or notification on each platform and then handle it ourselves. So, and here I'll just create a small sample for this. So then we have the text box folder. We have some text box samples. So I will do a simple sample here. So let's do copy the simple XAML TextBox Paste event. And the reason I'm doing it here in File Explorer is Visual Studio is still not handling the shared project very well, and we will need to transition our sample application not to use shared projects anyway. But for now it's still a shared project and it's super painful to use in a case of Visual Studio. So I will just do it this simple way, and hopefully they will either fix it, or we will fix or change its shared project to be a class library earlier than Microsoft fixes this. So I will basically replicate the same UI that I have here. So I will just take this whole thing, put it here. I will just make it vertical so it's nicer. And I'll maybe add some text block that will say something. Oh, I'll call it name and lock text block, which will just act as a way to see whether the event was triggered and when it was happening and whether we handle it or not. So this is this one. I will just need to rename this textbox simple to paste event. Paste event. And the same thing here. So paste event, sample, textbox category, and in the code behind I will just use almost the same thing as I have here. So handle this, and just add some logging there. So wait time now string, and I will just add a or I can do it just here directly. So handled or not handled, something like this. Very simple logging, and I need to assign it to event log text block.text. Nothing too complicated, just so we can see that the implementation works. So we have this file now, and we just need to ensure that it's added into the shared project project items. So TextBox simple. I'll just make a copy of this and call it paste event. And for I need to do one more of this. Just add a compile for the XAML CS file. Right. Done and dusted. Now let's close this. And we can just verify if this still works on UWP by launching the sample application on UWP. Oh, it should hopefully be exactly as on WinUI 3, but better to confirm than to be sorry. So samples app, UWP, we'll set it as startup project and we'll run it. All right. So, how are we going? Ah, here we go. Oh, right, I made a mistake. I forgot to rename this. And we have also an error here because I don't have the using for system. So, using system. Now we should be golden. And this is it correct that this is category? Yes. So TextBox paste event. Okay, so we should be okay now. Hopefully it will compile this time. Right. Come on. Building. It's taking its time. And there's a lot of XAML pages to compile, so the first build takes some time. I think I didn't build Windows on this specific clone yet, so that's probably why it's taking this long. And here we go, so Windows app is running and hopefully we should see everything is exactly as we expect it to be. All right, so TextBox paste event, and if I copy our hello world, paste it, it wasn't handled, but if I click handle, it was handled and we don't get nothing in there. So it seems that it's working fine. So now let's try to replicate this on some other platforms. And I'm guessing the easiest target to start with could be WPF, as it's still XAML and C#, so the implementation should be very similar or very analogous to UWP. So let's see if windows.system.controls TextBox has some kind of paste event. Yeah, okay, it's probably in TextBox base. Okay, so it's not there. So BPF So handle paste. Yes, so we have, all right, so this is probably something I looked at before. And yeah, that's actually, I remember that I was using this before. So data object and pasting handler. So that's exactly what we need, I guess. When your application starts. Hopefully it's not necessary to be when application starts. But there is something called paste handler. And yeah, there is cancel command that allows you to cancel paste operations. So hopefully that's gonna work. So TextBox CS. I just need to find that paste event. Come on, where is it? Here it is. So I will false it out for, or I can maybe, oh, let's keep it for Skia only for now, and then we will add more as we go. So TextBox CS, and there are some other events here. Event. Okay, here we go. So public event text control paste event handler, and I will make it Skia specific for now. And what I also need is to mark this as implemented. So just copy, and also event arcs for this one. Yeah, so these two need to be put here. So this is just event arc, so that's super simple. Maybe I will just add docs also. So generic message. I'll add nullable. And let's delete this, and this is the handled property. And the handled property has the following documentation. Ooh. Okay. So let's go with this one. It's just a delegate. Nothing too special here. So nullable, enable. And documentation for it. Righty. Or it contains definition, of course, because I didn't remove that one. So let's do that now, and I will just remove it everywhere because the handler itself is implemented. Even if the event is not, then the class itself can be used. So there's no big deal of implementing it everywhere. So the same here, the same here, and the same here. Okie doke. So let's now implement this. I will go here. Make a generic internal method that will handle this. So bool paste. This will create the event args, will raise paste, and then return the handled value from the result. Maybe a better name would be try handle paste, because it returns a bool, so it will be a natural way to say, did you handle paste, and then do something else if it was handled, or otherwise not handle it. So that's pretty simple. And now we just need to call this method from the WPF handling of paste. So let's go here, and in the WPF text box, which is the we have a overlay text box control. So this one, WPF text box view. We have, this is the main one. Yeah. So on this one, we need to attach that event when we're creating the control itself. Does password box have this as well? Password box paste. That's the method, but we need password box UWP. This one has a paste event too, so we might want to implement this for both controls. Yeah, maybe we should definitely do that. So I guess let's add the same thing on the password box as well. So here in generated, and it's actually a very simple task to do, because our implementation of password box, the actual one, derives from the, so here I think this is the one. It derives from TextBox, so everything that's in TextBox is also in password box. On the other hand, so it's fine, because the public method, the public event will still be there, just coming from the text box. So that's pretty fine. Right, so then we do what? So in our text box view, we need to attach that, or actually let's check the WPF thingy there. So once again, WPF handle paste event, data object at pasting handler. And does that work with text password box? I don't know. We'll see. So add pasting handler, and it works with any dependency object, which is nice. So we can do it in the base text box view. Okay, so the password text box view. Right. Ah, I see. That's more tricky. We'll see if it works. Otherwise, because now the password text box view is a little bit more complicated because it consists of a text view for the reveal version of password box and also a password box for the non-reveal version. Because the WPF does not have reveal functionality this way. So this is why we have this complicated structure of having a grid which contains a text box view and text box and a password box at the same time. So, but if you're lucky, the root element should hopefully handle the paste event as well. So we'll see if it works. We'll see. Here we have. We'll put this here. Oh, there's a remove pasting handle. Oh, okay. So we need to also make sure that we unattach it later. So there should be something like dispose on this. Add to text input layer and remove. Okay, so we will do it on add to text input layer and then on remove we remove it. So add pasting handler. We do root element paste handler. And we remove it on removal. So again, here, remove. Or actually, what if the root element changed for any reason? We should, but we are using it here, so yeah, it shouldn't change in between. Okay, so the paste handler is the thing that handles the cancellation, potential cancellation of the pasting. So we will now from here we'll call call the owner. How do we call owner from here? Can we even? Okay. How do I get the owner of this? Okay, so it's called from the overlay implementation from above. So I need to trigger this somehow. So instead, what I will do is that I will add an event here. And we can even use the same event handler, so the same event type as on Windows. Okay, not here, but here. No, not here. Come on. Which one was it? This one. Okay, so we can put this one here into the interface, and then we will raise it. And we'll directly get the right event arcs. Right, so let's implement the interface. This adds the, where is it? Where is an event? Yeah, here we have the event. So we'll raise it. Oh, notifications. It should be nullable because it's a non-required event. So I will create arcs. And arcs. And now I will raise the event this way, and I will get the arcs handled. I will call cancel command. So that should be all that's needed in here. And now I need to make sure that on the TextBox Skia side, this then triggers the try handle paste event. And I can do it this way. So raise pace, put the args there, and this way it will be more natural. It will just use the provided args, invoke them, and handle return the doesn't have to return anything. It can just raise that paste event. Here we go. So in Skia, now we are in the overlay text box. In Skia, here we have the default implementation. It will need to subscribe to the TextBox view. And now it will listen to those text changes. And we do it, do the observation here. So I will do that in a similar way. So private void paste. Do a disposable for this. And now subscribe to the event there. It's basically going to be the same thing as here. So paste disposable, disposable null. And if TextBox view is not null, it will subscribe. Oh, we have this observe this text changes event. So interesting, we are doing it with this pattern of sending a method as a handler of that event, but I guess that's not really necessary. We can do it this way as well. So TextBox view paste plus equals native paste on so let's rename this is not nice, so native paste. Hello MCNets, happy commuting. Disposable create, and I will unsubscribe from this next, so this way. So that should be it. And we need to, of course, call this. That should be somewhere in the observe native text changes, we'll observe paste. And we also need to do one more thing, which is to dispose this disposable with text change. So we'll see whether this is used. There are actually two places on end entry. So paste disposable dispose, disposable null, and there's this one which is already implemented in the observe native paste. So I think we are done with this. And on the native paste event, we need to now implement, we'll need to we need to call the owner, which is the text, no. Owner dot textbox dot raise paste event, send the args there, and that should be all that's needed. And right, this can be null. No, the text box can be null. Okay. But I guess this should be it. Nothing else. So let's do WBF and we'll see if it works or doesn't. Now, if this works, this has not been too complicated. So we can continue with some other target. Not sure if GTK is a good option. I'm not sure how hard it is to observe paste event there. So maybe we can do some easier one like Android or WebAssembly. Paste event. Oh, okay, there's a paste clipboard signal. So it might be doable. So TextBox, let's do TextBox paste event, and let's try to copy our hello world. That worked, and now not handled. So let's delete and paste, and it's handled. Okay, so it was super easy. We can also try this one, and it works the same way. So pasting from context menu is handled correctly as well. That's pretty nice. It would be worth trying the password box as well. So let's expand the sample. Let's expand the sample a little bit and just add the same thing for text for password box. Okay, TextBox box paste event, and in here we just add sample password box. Of course, and we just need this here, and this is also password box. Should be it. And let's add some headers so it's clear what's what. And there. Let's see what happens. It might work the same way. But if it doesn't, we will need to handle the password box specifically inside the password box view. So we will have to attach the event to both the reveal version and non-reveal version of the password box. But let's first try. Paste event. It's not nice really, but okay. So paste is not handled, and if I put here, okay, so it works. So it does handle it, okay, and yeah, so that's completely fine. Good. So that is WPF taken care of, and I will have to push this change there. So maybe let's break it down a little bit. So I will push first the generic version, the generic parts of it. So this one. Now WPF implementation coming in. So feed support for and finally test a sample page for this, and to be good citizens, we should also add some more information here. So this is a manual test because it cannot be tested automatically. I think at least there is no paste functionality in UI tests that we could use. We can ignore this in snapshot tests, and we also should add description. So this verify the paste event functionality. Just a small, quick description of what the sample is supposed to do. And that should be hopefully enough. Okay, so that is the sample taken care of. I will just push, amend the last commit and push the changes. And now we can take a look at some other targets. Let's do a draft PR. So we can track the progress in here. And let's switch to... Let's try GTK. I'm not sure how hard it will be, but we can at least try. So in here we have also a text box. Oh, not here. UI text. No, this is kind of messy. We need to clean up these folders, but we'll get to it. So we have GTK, TextBox US is the base class for both multi-line and single line. And in there, we need to implement the paste event. Okay, so we have the paste event here. Now let's see. The input widget is in both cases, this case it's a text view, and in the case of single line it's a entry. And now what was the event that we were looking for? GTK paste event. Paste event. It works for entry. Not sure if it works for text box view. We'll see. So entry paste. Clipboard pasted is there. But it's a pure event which does not really allow us to prevent the pasting. So we need to see something else there. Oh, maybe it's overridable. So if I do a custom entry derive from entry. Oh, what I'm doing, class custom entry derive from entry, and I can override paste on clipboard. Paste it, yes, but again I have no way to prevent that. paste. There's nothing else. So maybe it's not gonna be that easy to do here. Okay, prevent paste. Doesn't seem to show anything useful. Let's ask our friend Bing. Oh, okay. Connect. Entry connect. There's nothing like that. Signal. Add signal handler. Oh. Interesting. But it's just a delegate. Yeah, the AI works, but sometimes it just makes up a lot of things, so you can't trust it always. But it's helpful, don't get me wrong there. Interesting. GTK is weird sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to figure out from the documentation itself how to do a thing, and then even harder to understand how it should be translated to C# version of GTK. So it's kind of two layers of weirdness happening at the same time. So I guess the safe thing to do will be to just ignore GTK for now, at least. We can, if it's not possible to do, we will just document that this handling of paste event is not possible, and instead we'll do something more realistic, which Android could be. So I will try Android now, as it might be more manageable in the time we have. So let's try to Android. So Android handle paste. Yes, there we go. Register for context menu. Wait. Ah, here we go. Android paste. Whoa, what? Okay. On text context menu item, and we can listen to these IDs. Okay, let's try that. So on text context menu item, we have TextBox view.android something. Oh, okay, no, not that, but okay, we should be able to find it somewhere in the TextBox area here. Oh, there is TextBox View Android. I'm not sure why it didn't show up in the search result, but anyway, here it is. It derives from edit text, so that's the first important thing. And now context menu is not there, so we are not listening to it yet. So let's try overriding. Override on context menu context. On text context menu item. Okay, so this gives us the ID of that item, and now this returns bool if it was handled. So I'm not sure if we need to call base, because maybe the base will be the actual pasting. So maybe we'll have to not even call base method in our case. So let's see if so yes, if it's a paste ID, we'll try race paste. Oh, okay. You need the owner TextBox owner ref. Is there something more efficient to get? Okay, this one. So TextBox race paste. We'll create the arcs. And if those were handled, we'll set it like this and return handled. And I'm not sure what's the right approach here. We will probably just test it manually. It is quite possible this one is already handling the paste implementation itself. So maybe we'll have to call the base conditionally in case we don't handle it ourselves. What is this? What is this complaining about? Ah, right. Because I didn't remove this from here. And I didn't put it in here. Right. This intermittent error is quite annoying. It sometimes happens during builds that the APT generator somehow clashes with something and then it fails build for no reason, and only a rebuild helps there. So I just started a rebuild to prevent this. In the meantime, let's see how we can do. Yeah, for JavaScript, I actually searched for that before. So there's this paste event on text inputs and things that are content editable. So we can attach that paste event, and there is also prevent default that prevents the pasting. So that should be quite easy to do as well. Okay, let's start this on emulator and we'll see what happens. Is there some kind of text input where I can just copy something into clipboard? So, all right. Okay, send to 555. Hello world. Okay, copy. We have it in clipboard here. So now let's see what happens. I'll put a breakpoint here so we can see what's the value of handled from the base. So TextBox Paste event page, and now let's see, paste. So we get handled is true. And we return handled false. What happens then? Oh, it pasted. And if I do handled true, oh, it's still handled, still pasted. So that's not what we need. A good question. What happens if I click here? Oh, it doesn't go there, of course. So prevent pasting. We can prevent pasting from the paste context menu, but not from the keyboard suggestions. But is that a problem? The question is if it's still pasting, if it's just by the keyboard. Good question. I'm not sure. Oh well, first things first. So here, what happens if we don't call the base? So if it's not handled, we will call base on text content. Menu item, ID, return the result. But if we handle it ourselves, we will call, we'll just return if it's handled, we return true. All right, so we only need to, okay, let's do it a different way. So we need to make sure this happens only on paste, and for the others, we need to handle it by the system. So hello, Gabriel. Base on text content ID. So we need to let the other types of context menu items be handled by the system, and for our handling we just return true and don't call the system, and otherwise we... So technically we can do it like this. So if we handle paste, then we return true as we handle it ourselves, and otherwise we let the system handle it and return its result. That seems to make sense to me. So now let's, in the meantime, while it's building, we search for Android handle paste from keyboard. From keyboard's clipboard Android. Yeah, good question. Okay. Yes, we do have commit text implementation, but we don't want this to interfere. Is it the same thing? It's possible that they don't perceive that as a paste event because the keyboard probably somehow pastes the text itself, so maybe that's not a paste event per se. This is paste, not handled, but we cannot paste. Okay. Why? Okay, this is not working in any case now. Hello world. Cut and now paste. Okay, so I didn't have anything in the clipboard, maybe. Okay, this works. Now if I have handle, it pastes. Okay, so that was just that I didn't have any text in the clipboard, but otherwise it worked. So let's confirm once more here. Okay, on password box it doesn't work. And the reason for that is that, yeah, because I have not enabled the password box version of that event. I kept that password specific generated version. CS, here, this one. So paste. And paste. Come on. Where is it? Here. So we need to disable it here, and that should take care of it. Is there some specific TextBox view for password? No. It should be the same. Yeah, hopefully. Or maybe in a password box. TextBox Android. No, it should be the same. So it should work now. So if that is the case, then we can switch to WebAssembly, and maybe we'll be able to handle that one as well. And we'll leave the remainder, which is iOS and GTK, for next time. So let's confirm that we did have a success here. So TextBox, paste event, and now let's see. Paste hello world, paste hello world, that works. And now the handle, and it also works, so it doesn't allow you to paste from the context menu. So that's good. Like the proper implementation would probably be to also handle text like keyboard input, which we however don't handle yet. So like if you connect a physical keyboard and handle Control V, that should probably be handled, but that's something we can add later, as when we properly support external hardware keyboards on Android, which is not the case yet. So I think this is a good first implementation. Yes, this is there to compile. So feed, let's use the same wording here. Okay. Support for TextBox Paste and TextBox Paste on Android. Push it. And finally now WebAssembly. And I'm hoping that WebAssembly will be quite easy, because it's doing exactly what we need. It has the paste event that we can listen to. We can trigger a native like C# based implementation, then we can handle it and prevent default. Oh, nice! You are considering Uno for mobile development. That's pretty nice. I like to see that. So in terms of getting started, we have some tutorials on the documentation. So you can go to docs.platform.uno. We have some documentation. So create your first app. So it's 2 simple tutorials on how to create a simple application. So that's a good place to start there. But then for more complex things, you can go to Uno samples. We have a repository of sample applications, sample UI. We have a full reference application here, which is a commerce app, and a lot of examples on specific APIs, on specific features of Uno, and so on. So that's a good place to go to see some working things. And also the Uno Gallery, which contains a lot of samples that you can try out. I have it installed maybe here. Not sure if it's a working version, but it could be. So this app, which you can even find on gallery.platform.uno, is like a sample application. It contains a lot of control samples, so you can see how different controls look and feel on different themes. But there is also for every single sample that we have there is a full source code sample that you can use to replicate the same thing in your application. So if you want to display this whole thing, you will have to do this in your app. And the same goes for everything else. So flyouts, you can see it contains the full XAML that you can take and paste in your application and just adjust to your needs. And it should hopefully do exactly the same thing as in the gallery. So that's a good place to go if you need some ready-to-use snippets that you can use in your app. So I definitely recommend this. And then finally, because Uno platform is based on the same API surface as UWP and WinUI, you can go to any like UWP tutorial. So UWP getting started. There was a great tutorial. Well, there is this one. There's some videos on YouTube, but there was a good tutorial or set of video tutorials on Channel 9, which is now dead, but there could be some kind of tutorial. There was a set of videos that was pretty nice to learn from. And maybe this one? Also, there's a lot of articles on UWP and on WinUI. And if you learn from those, Uno platform should behave the same way. So unless you hit something that's not implemented in Uno platform, everything should be working the same way and behave the same way as on Windows. So that is the goal of Uno platform, that you are just writing Windows application that then compiles on other targets. That's WebAssembly, mobile targets, and GTK and WPF and IoT. So you are just writing Windows app. You are using the same APIs as on Windows, and it just works. And that goes for other things like not just UI, but also non-UI API. So for example, accelerometer, you just write accelerometer, you use accelerometer sensor as if you were writing a Windows app, and it works on the other targets. So that's just what, that's the promise of Uno platform. So hopefully any UWP specific or WinUI specific tutorial will be applicable in analogous way to Uno platform development. So you can learn from those and just apply that knowledge to all platforms using Uno. So hopefully that answers the question, but if you have more questions, feel free to ask. So let's go here into TextBox CS and go to our paste event. And now let's mark it as implemented on WebAssembly as well. So that's WebAssembly. And we can do the same thing for password box. Paste. So password box on WebAssembly here and here. Yeah, you're welcome. Hopefully it will help. And yeah, if you have any questions during your learning journey, you can reach out to us. We are on Discord. We are on GitHub. So feel free to start discussion there for specific questions. It's actually useful to start discussions on GitHub because other people can then learn based on your questions as well. So it's mutually beneficial. So not only you get your answer, but others can get their the same thing answered if they search for it on Google or Bing. So yeah. Alrighty. So we have a text box, and now let's implement it on WebAssembly. So on WebAssembly, we have also TextBox view, which is a input or text area. So there are two different styles of that. And we need to register that to listen to that paste event. And I'm not sure if this one can prevent default. So event name, it registers an event. Event registration. Register event on view. subscribes to it and dispatches that event. And prevent, there's a way to prevent default. But how do I do it from the code? So the handler can prevent default. It's a little bit confusing. I'm not sure how it's used. Okay, let's try it. What's the worst thing that can happen, right? So HTML input on input, we handle it here. So we attach a handler, and it can be that handler is then put in there. I'm trying to understand how this works, because it's not something I've used before. How can we on scroll, for example? No, doesn't seem like something we can. Is there some event that can show us how to cancel? Rotate event handler with handled. So there is a boolean as a return value that can be used. Here we have it for key down, but this is gonna be a little bit complicated to understand, I think. So, okay, let's just try to see what happens if we do something similar here. So on the text box view on WebAssembly, we will create HTML paste event. It should be a paste event handler. What does this do? Okay. A little bit confused on what is this. So this takes the value, that's the handler, Okay, let's see here. So text native, update context menu enabling. So we basically we can do routed event handler with handled, and register that one. So let's try this approach. I'm not sure if it will work, but we can try it. So we will attach to this one, unload it. Generate that method. And we do race. We do owner. Owner. So that's a text box. Okay, text box. Race paste. Arcs. New arcs. Arcs. So we put them there, and then we return arcs handled. And we'll see what happens. Not sure if this will work. It could, it might not. So it will be interesting, definitely. Let's just verify if password box has the same implementation. Yeah, it seems to have the same text box view, so hopefully it will work out well. So if if this does what I think it does, it then sends, if you return true, it will do prevent default on the paste event. So let's see what happens. I shouldn't have started with debugger because that's not even useful here. Let's see what happens. Okay, sample type. Let's see, text box is here. Paste event. I will put the hello world in my clipboard again, and I paste, and it works. So pasting by default works fine. Now let's try to handle it. Ah, what a bummer. So this didn't work out yet. So, and there's still something missing here. So we are listening to that event. We are returning handled, but it doesn't really handle it. Okay, let's just try to understand what. Let's find some references to that. Routed event handler with handled. References. No, not here. Oh, this is the only usage, or? Yeah. Oh, okay. Huh. That's surprising. So that's maybe why it's not working, because it's not even used anywhere. That could very well be it, or it's used here, but it's just raising routed event arcs. Maybe maybe that's it. I think the routed event arcs had a specific flag that you could use for specifically WebAssembly. So args HTML handled, but there was a property for that. No. Maybe here a dot can bubble natively. No, but there was something. Prevent default. It's used somewhere. Just need to find where and how. Okay, so HTML handleable routed event args, and then you use this thing, this monstrosity, to handle it. So let's see if that works. So yeah, I will just mark E. Okay. Why is it complaining? No, it's not running, so it shouldn't complain. E.handled, there's no handled. But is this what I need? So if args not handled, then we add prevent default to that result. Stop it. What is this? It's not running. So why are you complaining? So if args not handled. Alright, I forgot semicolon here. And let me check if routed event args on WebAssembly have this specific interface implemented. And Visual Studio froze. Ouch. Whoa, what did I do? Routed event args. Does not seem so. I need to find which of these are. Okay, so this is not the answer yet. We need to find which event implements this. So key routed event args do have this. Final references. So pointer routed event args. HTML handleable routed event args. But the default implementation seems to be that it takes the handler result, which in our case was true, and was adding the step propagation prevent default there. So, it should be working. It should actually be working. So event registration, let's see what is this doing. So register event on view native. Where is it? It should be in here, TS. In here. Okay, I should be able to have a breakpoint here to see if we are registering the event. And then we should be able to see this one. So maybe I will break on this specifically to see what's the result of the dispatch event call and whether we get here. Or we are not getting there, but we might understand if it's returning something useful. yeah, because we're not returning anything. So now this. Ah, right, and this is not gonna work because it's not handleable. So I'll just return the original state. That logically makes sense, but there must be some small thing missing, which I'm not getting right now. So this is okay. It returns the value, which is boolean. It's handled. So there must be something more missing. Okay, so there we have the text box sample. Let's do sources. Then we find Uno UI, handle prevent default. And here I want oh, this is gonna happen on all the can I put a event name? Okay, so conditional breakpoint. Event name. Yeah, so conditional breakpoint event name equals event name equals paste. Oh, okay, we're hitting it. So now this happens on paste and we are getting a result of 0, which is a little less than I expected. So why is that? Okay, so this is not working. Right, so what I can do here, I can do some logging. So I can do logging here. And I can do logging in the handlers somewhere. So when the prevent default happens, so we are getting 0, which is okay. And we should be hitting this method. So let's just output this. Maybe we're not somehow attaching to this properly. Inner dispatch. Huh. What is this now? Internal dispatch event. I wish I understood this better, but I don't so. pointers on native pointer event. This happens on JS exports. Generated. So what is happening here? So what I'm guessing is gonna happen that it's not gonna hit this at all. Because somehow this is not used in this code path. Which would explain why it's not working properly on this event. So this invoker raise event handler, this just raises event handler. Oh, I see. So that's probably what's happening. Raw event handler. Routed event handler. Routed event handler with handled. Maybe this. Let's see where it's used. Okay, so maybe we need this guy. Maybe we need this guy, which will return the value. Could be. Let's see. Hello again. Back from your commute. So we are in a quite a good shape here. We have finished WPF, we have finished Android, and now we're fighting with WebAssembly. But surely somehow we will figure it out. Hopefully. So far, I'm trying to understand how this the logic for routed event handlers in WebAssembly works, because I'm not familiar with it, so it's kind of complicated. So this is okay. Oh, it works. Okay, so that was the key. That was the key. So I wasn't raising that event correctly. I was using the one which raises the event but does not return any result. So now that I'm using the raise routed event handler with handled, it actually gets the result from the method, and now pasting works, which is amazing. So we get the handler result true, and we should be hitting that prevent default here. So prevent default, it should be getting hit when I paste. Yes, it is. Okay, so this was a little bit more complicated than I thought, but it seems to work properly. And that's for both password box and text box. But if I answer handle, it will paste normally. And maybe it should work for this one as well. So handle, if I do here, it handles it properly. What about this one? It also works. Okay, so it works overall in all cases, which is nice. All right, so that is WebAssembly taken care of. So let me take this implementation from here. Yeah, we need to get rid of those console write lines that I did. So this is not supposed to be there. Plus something else as well. I think this one is just console write line, so I get rid of this. And the rest is okay. Right, so let's copy our commit message. Awesome. Commit, push, and that is it. So we're nearing 2 hours, so I will be probably finishing up, but let's just quickly check what it would take to implement this on iOS. It would probably be complicated. Well, we'll see. Let's see. iOS detect paste. Yes, I was searching about it before. There is some kind of func that does the responding. Okay, well, we can take a quick look. If it's not easy to do, we can leave it for next time, but it would be nice to have it. So let's try just quickly iOS. I'm sure my Mac is not ready for any iOS section, but no. There we go. All right, so where do we begin? Just do the housekeeping. So password box, and now enable the event here. And in the text box view, okay, we have 2 different text boxes. We have single line and multi-line. Okay, and now what they tell us to do is to handle UI responder standard edit actions. How do I get that? It's a protocol. On UI text field. So let's just see if there is no paste method or event here. It does not seem to be. All events, all editing events. Not that useful. So we can also try overriding. Paste. Oh, there is something. Sender. Does not seem to be a way to UI text paste delegate. Oof. iOS. All right, so let's try this one. How can I prevent paste on UI text field in C#? Let's see what happens. Can perform action. Yeah, but I want to intercept it, kind of, not disable. Event, not even. What? No, 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 no. I want intercept the paste event on iOS UI text field. Again, typo. Oh wait, can I, if I don't call the base, maybe that will work. So paste. I can do text box, raise paste arcs and paste arcs. I will raise the paste event, and then if arcs handled, if not handled, then I will raise the base paste method. We'll see. Not getting my hopes too high, but could be interesting. The question is, do I handle just this one? But there are more of them, so I think paste and go, paste and match style. I should maybe handle these others as well. But let's try the simple one first. What are you complaining about? Oh, this is complaining about nullables. I think this is enough. And what is this? Right, because UI responder has a paste as well, so I will have to do new paste. Okay. It seems so. So it seems that any UI view has a paste method in iOS. I'm really interested to see how this will go. Okay, let's now hope that the remote simulator will work, because that's always kind of a throw of dice if it works or not, or throw of a coin. 50-50 it doesn't work, so, or maybe actually it's higher probability it doesn't work, so hopefully this time Visual Studio will do its thing. Okay, that's not a problem. The builds are painful. For iOS, it's just taking way too long to build. And even deploy, so sometimes it doesn't even deploy, it's just throws some error. And yeah, like in this case, I don't see that emulator starting up anywhere. Where is it? Should see simulator, but okay, it's connecting to Mac. Checking server, waiting for device. Here we have iPad Air, and if we are lucky, we might get the app running there. Fingers crossed. Oh, it launches. It's more than I expected, so that's good. It is launching still. Taking its time. And we are in, so let's do it quickly. TextBox. Let's find our paste event page and let's try something. I need to put something in my clipboard. What is this? Some arrange assert. Not great, not terrible. Let's cut this into clipboard. Come on. Cut. So paste. Let's see. I will put a breakpoint in the. Oh, let's try it first. So this worked. Now paste without. Okay. What is this assert? There's something wrong there. Some layout issue. Oh, it worked? No way. I didn't expect this to work. All right. That's super cool. So it seems that it works. That's awesome. So except for this error, which I don't like. What is this? Children. There's a null child here. Why? That is not nice at all. We should report this as part of this. So let's do a report. Somehow a null child has gotten into the grid. That's very weird. So, how to properly reproduce this? Did happen when we clicked the text box. And does this happen on all the text boxes, or is it some specific thing for this one? Somehow only on this one. Let's see a text box. Simple. Okay, it doesn't happen here. It might happen only with text box with header. No. So it's not that. It's the fact that it's centered vertically in the page. No, it doesn't happen anymore. It's not great. Okay, now we cannot reproduce it. Oh, shoot. Ah, okay. So it was, we pasted something and then clicked. Right, so you write something and you click on the text. Okay, let's test this on this one. Yeah, it happens always. Oh, not great. Not great. Yeah, like the assert itself does not crash the app, so that's good. But it does happen in unconditionally, which is not good. So Text box is edited. So what is the let's just take the children there. All right, need snipping tool. I need delay of 5 seconds just to be safe. How to reproduce it? So it was a quick report of the issue. We should look into that soon because it's affecting all the inputs in iOS, so that's not great. But like from the outside, it shouldn't be visible because the assert is hit only in debug mode. So on the release it shouldn't matter, but it's not correct, so we should fix it. All right. So now where was I? The pasting works. That's great. And what I wanted to do is to do the same on multi-line input and also on. Okay, so how do we do it as easy as possible? I'll create a private void handle paste with action parameter base action, and then I will replicate this there and just call the base action invoke. And handle paste. And we do the same thing for all the other pastes. So we have, what was there? Override paste and go, override paste and match style, and override paste and search. These are probably some specific paste methods for specific types of text fields, but it's safer to implement those now while we're at it, because if we later enable such kinds of inputs, it will make more sense to have this already working, not to risk that someone forgets to add this and then the behavior will be broken. So I'll just use this here. So it will handle all the different pastes, and that is it. And now the same code needs to be replicated for multiline as well, because we have multiline text box view, and that is based on UI text box view as well, UI text view as well, but has some custom implementation. So, oh, it's a text field and this is text view. Okay. Yes, and that should be handled the same way, because the paste method, as we learned, is generic and happens on all the types of different types of UI views. So we have text box, raise paste. Let's see. Okay, it's why is it not working there? Text box. Oh, right. Yes, I like this. So that should be it. Can we verify this? Okay, text box paste event on TextBox CS. What's the thing that decides? Accepts enter, I think. Accept return. That's the one. So I think that's the thing that decides if it's multiline or not. So great. Ensure text box accepts return or text wrapping, no wrap. Okay, so accepts return. Let's do that one. So I will add another checkbox. Checkbox. Unchecked. And content will be multiline. So we need to make this checkbox do something. So what is the signature? Checkbox. Checkbox. So checkbox dot checked. So it's just event handler. Okay. So let's do this. I'm doing this because the IntelliSense is not currently working for me. So I just handle it here. It should be working in the latest versions of Visual Studio, so hopefully that will resolve all these annoyances that we had with IntelliSense in XAML. So it would also generate these events for me, but for now I'm doing this manually. So if it's checked, all right, maybe like this, just simply event log text block. No, what is it? Simple text box. simple text box accepts return will be equal to is checked equals true. All right. Let's see what happens. Okay, building. Taking its time, as it should. This is very curious behavior. I'm very surprised how this happened. But it's probably new because I would have seen this before. So it must be some regression that happened recently. I would even safely say regression here. Because I definitely was using text boxes with entered result. Right, what I wrote equals true because this one is nullable. It's checked as nullable. So you need to like check for the null case, which is the checkbox having the third filled out option. So all checkboxes have possibility of being free state, but by default it's not, but you need to check for the nullable case. Because if it was, it would be null in that specific occasion. So that's why I did it this way. I think it's maybe if you have a sample of that later I will show you, but let's first test this. So equals, let's put some text, and now let's can I copy and paste? I can paste, and if I handle it, oh no, that assert, need to paste here, and it handles it. All right, so multi-line works well. That's good. So for the checkbox job, just to show you, we have both two state and free state. So there is indeterminate one, which is kind of, you can put it in the third state, which is yes, no, something in the middle. So that's how it works. And it is actually, that represents the null state. So that's null, that's false, and that's true. All right, so this is done. Let me push the change. So implementation on iOS. Right, so this is okay. I'm not sure if I should have removed all of these away, but if it compiles, then we also cleaned up the usings. All right, so I think we can push this. Just the same wording again. And push, and we're done. So that is it. So we implemented the paste event on Android, WPF, iOS, and WebAssembly. The remaining ones are macOS, which is kind of hard to test because the AppKit version of macOS is broken in the latest versions of .NET. It's kind of buggy a lot. So it's we are kind of putting it on back burner until .NET team fixes it properly, and before then we are preferring the Mac Catalyst version of Mac support. So that's the same thing that Maui is doing. So they are using Mac Catalyst version of Mac support. So that's this one. And finally, the GTK is missing. And GTK could be tricky. And I will try to understand if there is a way to do it properly. But if there is not, then we will just have to skip it. Oh well. Actually, let's do one more try, because now that I've seen how iOS is doing it, maybe it's the same thing with GTK there. So let's do it. Let's just one quick try, because it would keep me awake. So I will just run this one quickly, and we will try to create a custom entry that will have the paste overridden. I'm not giving it too much chances, but what if? So entry, GTK entry. So it will be a custom derived version of entry. And there was an event or method on clipboard pasted. That we might be able to do and prevent this one. So what I can try is to create replicate that event here. Uno GTK entry. I'll replicate the event. So that would be this one. I'll just put it here. Make this nullable so it's nice and up to date. And then I will trigger args, new paste args. Trigger this args, and then if args are handled, I will if they are not handled, I will call the base. It could work. So let's just do it. Give it a quick chance to do its thing. I will do it on text view as well. So uno text view. Uno GTK text view. So it's the same convention. Based on text view. Override it. And use the same implementation. So this, and now I just need to listen to it. So in the shared implementation, I will add a protected word raise paste method. Paste and args. That will paste this view version. There's kind of a lot of layers of paste events, but it should be okay. And now this one. So input widget. Can we do it in a shared way? We can't do it in the shared way. Yes, probably. How do we observe text changes? How do we observe text changes in this case? Observe text changes. So it attaches to the changed event, and then one attaches to something else. But how do we do it for the paste one? So this comes from creates an entry. Okay, so it should be fine. This is so we can attach to paste, and then we can call raise paste here. Maybe it's not the cleanest implementation, but it should be fine at least for this, and then I can clean up the PR afterwards and make it more clear. But I just want to see if it works. So kind of a quick and messy implementation to verify the conjecture if the same approach that we saw on iOS works here. Arcs. I prefer arcs instead of E. Seems cleaner. So okay, close this, and now this will raise paste, and it will raise it on. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I will just pick GTK, run it, and we will see. What do you think? Will it work? It will not, because there's a error. Oh, okay, it's called differently. It's paste clipboard. Okay, so that's why. Not too bad. So that's interesting. So they clipboard pasted, and on text view it's on paste clipboard. It seems to be the same thing, just named. They switched the text there. Weird, but what can you do? What is it complaining about? Oh, right, because the new keyword is applicable only on iOS, so I need to do it this way. If iOS, then use this, and if. So on iOS only, there is this new needed, but otherwise it's without the new. Let's see. Okay. This scaling issue is something I caused. I need to fix it, but for now, let's ignore that and try to act as if it's okay. It happens only on fractional scaling. I need to fix it. It's super annoying, but well, should be able to still work with this. Let me copy hello world. You can paste now, but what if I do handle? Oh, okay. pasting. It does prevent pasting, so that works fine. For this one it works as well. And for multi-line, if I paste now, I should be able to paste, but if I handle it... okay. All right. That's so good. So we handled GTK as well. That's cool, that's cool, that's cool. I will push this with the same commit message as before. Support for text based on GTK. All right. And I will need to clean up the PR later, but it seems to be almost ready to be marked as reviewable. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, even Copilot likes it. It says only WPF, but the original implementation was WPF only, so that makes sense. All right, good, good, good. I'm pretty happy with this. So it was a little less than 2.5 hours, and we were able to implement the paste event on all targets except for macOS AppKit. So that's pretty nice, I think. So now the only thing left is to clean that up and get it ready for review. But I will not keep you for that here. So thank you for joining this session. It was successful on this one. This one was very successful, I think, because getting this to work everywhere in a relatively short amount of time, that's very lucky, especially iOS. So I'm very surprised that it worked and that it was relatively easy. So yeah, thank you for joining. And I will see you next week probably on some other live coding session. And until then, keep coding. Make sure to contribute to No Platform for Hacktoberfest because it's still running and you have still like 2 weeks to contribute some PRs and win some prizes. So don't forget about this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.